Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. I wanted to start just by taking another look at the daily time frame. Also for everybody who is new on this channel, because you might not be aware about our longer term outlook and the bigger picture. Context is very, very important when we deal with structures, Elliott Wave structures and price charts as a whole. The overall assumption is that Ethereum is setting up for a breakout in 2024 into the region first $3,000 to $4,000 roughly, but then overall into the region around 8 to 12K. That's sort of the basic idea. The base case, the main thesis, the idea is that Ether completed here off the June low, so-called 1-2 structure, a very bullish setup, which could then result in this further rally in a very direct way without any deeper pullbacks, because all the pullbacks that should happen along the way should just be wave 4s, and they are typically shallow. Of course, they can also be substantial in size, maybe duration, but the wave 4 is typically rather boring than a sharp pullback. Okay, so what we see here is that we have that wave 1-2 completed initially in November 22, the next one that bottomed in October. And then here we have another wave 1, and we might now be in this wave 2 pullback. Bear in mind that Ether has so far not yet broken below this trend line that we are tracking here on the daily time frame. So a break below this line, and it's roughly at around $2,200 maybe, could send it down lower quite rapidly. And our support area for this wave 2 is between 2017 and 16 or and $1,678. Now, it doesn't mean we have to go down to the lowest support level, but it means that as long as that lowest support around 1680 is holding, the bull market is intact, and I don't have to change at all the assumption on the daily time frame. The assumption on this chart has remained the same for many, many months now, and we've been bullish about ETH since August 22, I would say, short term. So that is where we started to track a bullish potential. And so far, ETH has not invalidated our daily time frame scenario. The smaller waves along the way, sure, but we never had an invalidation of our base case that Ether is on track to new bull market highs. So let's take a look at the shorter time frame wave count. The idea is that we are now in this already mentioned wave 2 correction. That's still my preferred scenario. The idea is that Ether completed this wave 1 that we just talked about on the daily time frame on the 9th of December. This here is some kind of a very complex correction. Very corrective price action, but ETH doesn't really come down aggressively. So it's just sort of a sideways correction. We have this A wave down, an overshooting B wave, C wave down. That's my preference, that this C wave is coming down. Here, first of all, the support levels around 2190 and 2047 will be relevant for this scenario. I'm unsure at this stage if the wave C, so A, B, C, if the wave C will actually drop below $2,047. Has to do with the situation that the B wave did overshoot, and the C wave and the A wave typically have a certain Fibonacci relationship. And it is rare that the C wave extends beyond the 1.618 extension. That's at $2,047, but it can. They can, in an expanded flat, we could even see the 2.618 extension level, and that's at 1,834, but it's just not so common. Therefore, I mentioned already the last few days that it might be that we don't actually see this green support area. So the white wave count is the base case. In the yellow count, we have a more directly bullish scenario in which the price could turn around now and start this next wave to the upside already a little earlier than expected. But exactly for that purpose, for anybody who wants to speculate on that, we've got these key levels there highlighted in the yellow box. For me, this scenario is remotely possible, not preferred. I prefer the white count. And however, in the yellow count, if the price turns around now, rallies impulsively above the circle wave 1 high at $2,448, then yeah, this is probably third wave in the making. But I just don't prefer it for various reasons that I discussed in previous videos. One example is that this would be a 1-2-1-2 setup. The second wave one is just too long. The first wave one looks more like a 3-wave move. It just doesn't really add up fully. And yeah, by the way, this yellow scenario will be invalidated with a break below $2,187, and it will become far less likely with a break below $2,236. That's my update about ETH. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit a like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.